I've got to tell you, I'm so pleased that this day is finally upon us, because and I know many of you, was losing the will to live when it came to this budget. But it's done. And I want to know, what do you think to it? Keeping me company to tell me what they think to it, the Deputy Leader of Reform UK, Richard Tice. Alongside him, the Shadow Environment Secretary, Victoria Atkins. And in addition, we normally only have two people on this panel, but tonight we thought it was justified to have all three. Labour MP Catherine Atkinson, you're all very welcome tonight. As of course, every single one of you are at home. Join the conversation in all the usual ways. You know how by now. You can email me gbviews@gbnews.com. Go to the website gbnews.com/yoursay. Of course, you can tweet or you can X me. I want to know, what do you think were the good, the bad and the ugly of the budget today? How do you feel? Was it as bad as you feared? Did you find any of it really all that surprising, given all of the relentless leaks we had in the build-up, and of course the catastrophic leak as well of the OBR's forecast, which was leaked in advance of the budget? You couldn't even make this up, ladies and gents. But let me just start with you, Victoria. I want all three of you just to give me your top line thoughts of the budget as a whole. And as the programme progresses, we'll get into the kind of minutiae of the policies.
Well, after 6 months of shambolic briefings, this is the budget of broken promises. We have taxes up, unemployment up, inflation up, public debt up, welfare spending up, and growth down. And so I fear this is a budget that will be living with all of us for a very, very long time in a very, very bad way.
Richard Tice?
It was a car crash, the Chancellor's second car crash since she was appointed. And yes, I mean, taxes to a post-war high, and we've got borrowing in this year alone will be £21 billion higher than the OBR forecast just a few months ago. It's a major disincentive to people who work, to people who run small businesses, to farmers, to entrepreneurs. It's a budget for those who are trapped on welfare. There's nothing good about it at all. There's lots of bad, lots of ugly.
Catherine, what do you think?
We saw a budget that tackled the cost of living, that was there to cut waiting lists in our NHS and to bring down borrowing and debt. It is what this country needed, and it's what's being delivered.
So are you happy? Because, of course, the Chancellor, she was saying to you guys in advance, it's not pick and mix, it's not Woolworths, you can't just have this and your cola bottles and forget the rest. So are you united, do you think, as a party, across all of these measures that we saw today?
It is a package because we've got some things paying for others, but I think that
paying for shirkers.
Well,
that's what many people will say.
I think that what we saw with the two-child benefit cap being lifted, that's going to be paid for by taxes on online gambling. I think we do need to ensure that we know where things are being paid for. But what I want to see is opportunity for all. And budget's always going to be about choices. And we could have gone back to austerity with the Conservatives and reform the way they would like to do things, or we could have seen reckless borrowing like we would have seen with the Greens. This is a budget to ensure that we do tackle the cost of living as we already have been, and building on some really meaningful differences to people's lives that have already started. So we did see earlier this week with the freeze on rail fares, with the freeze on prescription charges. But what I was particularly pleased to see grown is, again, the uplift on minimum wage and on the state pension, because I want to have more money in people's pockets to spend in our shops, to spend in our restaurants and our pubs. That is what's going to help our local economies.
There's nothing more important than keeping your money and your identity safe online. And with so many VPN options available, choosing the right one can be pretty daunting. But this video's sponsor, ExpressVPN, is making the choice easier for GB News viewers. ExpressVPN is offering up to 73% off, plus 4 extra months free. That's top-level security from just £2.49 a month, and you're covered by their 30-day money-back guarantee. So just click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code now. Remember, when you're online, you are often sharing personal data, so hackers can steal your information, your passwords, your photos, and your bank details in just seconds. But ExpressVPN encrypts your connection, making it virtually impossible for hackers to access your personal information. So why choose ExpressVPN? Well, it couldn't be easier to use. With just one click, you are protected. And ExpressVPN uses military-grade AES 256 encryption, which is the same standard trusted by the US government to guard their classified information. With their new tiered plans, you can protect up to 14 devices at once and manage passwords securely. Live chat support is available 24/7, and it typically connects you in under a minute with a real person. Click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code to get up to 73% off ExpressVPN plus 4 extra months free. Start protecting yourself today with ExpressVPN.
Some of you watching this programme, you might run those small businesses, you might run your restaurants, you might run your pubs. So it's all well and good saying, oh, all this money's going to pour into hospitality because people are earning more. If you are one of these small business owners, how do you feel when you hear that? Do you feel, yes, my profits are about to be boosted, or do you sit there with your head in your hands and go, Michelle, what is everyone talking about? My wage bill will now spiral out of control. In a minute, I'll be talking to someone from the Treasury, and we'll get into some of this stuff. But Victoria, one of the things that astonished me was that you've got all of these politicians, everyone's making their way to Parliament. Meanwhile, you've got farmers on the streets, absolutely furious, having been told literally late last night that now they wouldn't be allowed to bring vehicles into central London because of disruption reasons. And getting arrested. Farmers getting arrested on the streets of Britain. You were down there.
I was down there for much of the day. And first of all, the reason that farmers are leaving their farms to come to London to protest is not because they're left-wing activists that like protesting every weekend. It's because of the family farm and the family business taxes, which are doing so much damage already to those businesses before it's even come into force in April. They were coming here today hoping to get the Chancellor to listen to their worries, their concerns, and there are some very tragic human stories behind this as well. And they were given permission to do this on the 14th of November. That permission was withdrawn late yesterday afternoon. So these farmers, who, by the way, have been travelling from all over the country, carried on their journeys, came into London, protested peacefully, as they always do. But what was really, really infuriating was that as I was coming out of Westminster Tube today to go and meet the farmers, I saw that we had the usual campaigner with his loudspeaker on Parliament Square. He's there every week shouting his inanities every week. He was allowed to do that today. Farmers weren't. So there are some very serious questions for the Met. I'm going to be writing to the Commissioner to demand answers on this, because we need to know why that decision changed between the 14th of November and yesterday afternoon. It's not right.
Because they weren't carrying pro-Palestine flags. Yeah. That's the reason they weren't. If they had been, they'd have been allowed. Michelle, you should add that to your letter, Victoria. It's an absolute disgrace why they were prevented from carrying out lawful, peaceful protests. The last time they came to town, they left the streets cleaner than they found them.
No, they should protest on all the streets up and down the country every single day. You'd save council tax. You'd save a fortune in your council tax. This is pretty shameful, and it's a terrible look for this government when you've got hard-working farmers being denied the opportunity to peacefully protest, whilst you're simultaneously saying that you are on the side of working people.
I would be very surprised if the government had any direct input into decisions about what protests can and can't go ahead. That would be it's a matter for the police to police protests, and absolutely everyone has a right to peacefully protest, but they've always got to do it within the rules. I've got no idea why the rules changed in relation to today.
But doesn't it concern you as the government of this country, when you've got your farmers and you know this is happening, you can see it's happening, you can hear it's happening, and you will have witnessed it, some of it with your own eyes, I'm sure, as you were going into Parliament. Doesn't it concern you? Don't you feel like this government should be demanding answers from the likes of Metropolitan Police and perhaps telling them, look, these are not the optics that we want to be seeing. Explain yourselves.
I think that the police should stay operationally independent from government, but I do agree that you always want to see peaceful protests being allowed where it can be, and we should always be listening to those that want to raise their concerns with us.
I regret to say, Michelle, this was a political decision by the head of the Metropolitan Police, who must now explain himself. He didn't want this budget day to be surrounded, for the whole of Parliament to be surrounded by trackers. That's the bottom line, and he needs to explain himself to the British people very, very quickly.
The scenes were remarkable, you know. When Rachel Reeves left Downing Street, she literally left to a chorus of boos from the farmers that had assembled there